Okay, so till now we completed the servlet and JSP. Okay, see, these are the main two technologies which any developer should know before entering the company. Fact is, they are very simple technologies. Okay, but what has happened is in college they are not taught you properly, or whether they didn't teach you properly, or whether you didn't learn it properly, that is secondary here. Okay, but everybody neglects which one? These particular things, servlet and JSP, and they say what? If you get the hello world output, they say I know servlet, I know JSP. That's not the way. Most of the institutes also teach you servlet and JSP in the same way. We'll come to that later. But basically, what is servlet and JSP? That you have to understand. These are the sub-specifications in the JEE. Understood? These are the sub-specifications. You have to start telling like that. Okay. In the interview, they have to ask you, what is servlet and JSP? They are sub-specification of JEE. What is JEE? Super specification. Okay. For developing what? Web-based applications. So these are the terms or terminologies you have to use for actually talking to the interviewer. That is when they get impressed. But you, on the other hand, you know how you define servlet, you know how you define JSP. If the interviewer asks you what is JSP, yeah, I know JSP, it is Java server page, like that and all. If you talk, they'll hardly be impressed. They know the full form. But you have to start talking like this only. Okay, servlet is a specification, sub-specification of JEE specification. It is a web technology. These are how you have to define. It's a web technology which can be used for developing web application. Okay, JSP is also a subsection of JEE. It is used for, it's a presentation technology. Like that you have to explain. Clear? So that is when they get impressed. So I had given an intro to JEE, and in this what I had done was I had explained to you JEE is the super specification, and I had given you all this clear in detail things. It's a super specification set by Sun. Okay, and here if you see servlet, JSP, JSF, EJB, these all follow. Here only, so some service technologies, there are some presentation technologies. So out of this, by the time I completed, you might have noticed I covered servlet, JSP. Clear? Servlet, JSP. Then, if it is still not visible, I'll increase the font size. I think this will be better. So we covered servlet, we covered JSP, HTML I have covered, HTTP, TCP/IP, clear? So like this JDBC. So the more technologies you understand here, the better you can develop your application. Okay, so when you are developing application, web application I'm talking, there are many problems we face. Okay, apart from business logic, there are many other support we need. Developing web application with business logic is very simple. There are easily you can develop it, you can implement the business logic, but there are various other problems we face while developing a web application, technical problems. So these are all ready-made technologies given to the developer for what? Handling all the problems. So you don't have to write libraries there. Instead of you writing all the problems from the scratch, the Sun gives you all this solution. So the more you know, the better. So other things gradually learn as you go into practice into company. That is very simple, because this forms the base. What forms the base? Servlet and JSP, because this is where you get the basic idea of what is a web application, how a web applications are developed. All this flow is very important. From there, more technologies will be added that you'll slowly start understanding which one will be used where and all, that you don't have to worry. But as a fresher, if you're targeting a job, till here what I called is more than sufficient. Understood? As for a fresher's point of view, more than sufficient. The documents and the examples what I have given is more than sufficient. Okay, I am exaggerating, too much it is. Okay, so with this knowledge, if you go to any interview, you can definitely crack your interview. It's not a problem. So, but one advice from my side would be code all the examples, okay, and read the document properly. There are some small doubts you might get here and there. You don't have to worry about that. As long as the doubts remain, let them remain, because we are more focused on the concepts. If you have understood the concept, it is fine. Now when you start developing application, those concepts will be implemented, and all your small minor, they are very minor and silly doubts actually, they'll be cleared when you start working with the companies. So they'll remain pending, those small doubts, you don't have to worry. Okay, they will be cleared through the process. When you start using, see, when will the doubt be cleared is, for the same concept you need 2 or more examples. That's it. When you see 2 or more examples, your doubts will be cleared. And they'll be very silly doubts. Do not worry, and you'll be seeing it. Now if I go on giving 2-3 more examples on that, what happens? It becomes course will become a burden for you. That's why exactly what is the concept, exactly what is the thing, I'm just covering it for you, so that when you go to companies, you'll start getting adjusted. And this is minimum requirement what you have to enter when while you go to the company. Remember this. There are many institutes who cover this also. Okay. See, actually if you see here, everything is easy here. But the toughest part in Java is the core Java, what we covered. Understood? The CJP syllabus. Everybody neglects that. Okay, that is the toughest part. If you know that good, all these technologies are very simple to learn. One technology can be learned in 10-15 days, that's it. It's only flow here. Something comes like this, something will happen like that, something will go there, and then final response will be given. One flow. In between this will happen, that's all. So with practice you will understand this. But the main thing what you have to understand is core Java only. People neglect that, and that is the reason they struggle in these advanced technologies. So how good you know the core Java, that is that SCJP syllabus I have covered. Okay, SCJP syllabus what I covered, that much better it is for you to understand also. That is why whenever you go to any interview, okay, those questions will be asked extensively on core Java itself. Here they'll ask few questions, but more questions will be asked on core Java only, because using those libraries, these advanced libraries are built. These advanced technologies are built. So that is why they see the foundation of you, how good you are in the foundation, that better you can understand. Even if training, see, if I train, it will take 10 days. In company, even due to the pressure, no, all this you'll understand in 2-3 days. Because there you are working for what? 10 to 12 hours per day. In course what happens, you'll hardly sit in class for 1 hour. So I am telling you will be trained means you need 10 days to learn here. But fact is, when you are in company, no, the pressure will be mounted on you in such a way that in one day you'll work for 10 hours there, no. So what I cover in 2 weeks, you'll be learning that in what? 2 days. That's the pressure. Understood? So you'll be having the risk of losing job, and you'll have interest also. So due to that, automatically learn. But this is the basic. Unfortunately, people do not understand this basic properly, neglect this, and try to learn what? Advanced technologies. Like what? They say, I know everything about all this, and they tell, I want to learn directly what? JSP, Spring, Hibernate, this and all. No use. When your foundation is only improper, okay, learning that is very difficult. Okay, but if you are good with this, learning that is a matter of just 2 days or 3 days. Understood? But if you are weak here, there it will take around 1 month to 2 months. So time duration required for learning all this is same. Whether you come from the ground level or whether you go directly to what? Hibernate. If you go directly to Hibernate, you cannot understand. There also spend 1 month. But other route of going to Hibernate is what? From the scratch, database, JDBC, okay, then collections, then Hibernate. If you go all this, if you cover and go, Hibernate will take 10 days. But if you leave all this and go, now Hibernate will take what? 1.5 months or 2 months. Same duration. There is no shortcut here. There you have to struggle so much. But here, if you go from the scratch level, you have more confidence. That's it. So that is how things are built. Clear? So what I'm finally trying to say is, this JEE, get the point very clearly, it is a super specification, clear? And it is set by Sun company, and it is implemented by vendor, and it is used by developer. So if you see, it's a 3D vision now. From the Sun point of view, we call it as what? Specification. Then next, from the developer point of view, it is a platform. And vendor point of view, it is infrastructure. They provide us the infrastructure. Yes or no? Correct? Huh? So these people implement. Vendors implement. And these people, we people use. So how are the specifications set? Using interfaces. Now you can see how the interface is getting used. Clear? So whenever Sun wants somebody to set implement for them, they'll not, if Sun only wants to give the solution, they'll give it in the core Java library, in the form of what? Class. Sun only wants to give the complete solution. They write classes. So classes are used for concrete implementation. But if they want others to implement, then they'll use the interface data. Very powerful. So using the interface, what happens? We start working with vendor's object. We write the code and put it into the server or wherever it is, or even in JDBC, we'll be working with third-party objects. So interfaces are so powerful. And on the top level, I said it's a specification. We can also say JEE is a server. Combination of all these things make it sit as a server. So if you want to develop a Java web-based application, you need a JEE server. Means what? Java Enterprise Edition server. So this is one of the platform. Like this, Java is giving you 3 platforms: JSC, JME and JEE. Three platforms are there. JSC is for developing what? Standalone application. There, almost all core library will use the same. There's no difference, but only instead of servlet you'll be using Swing. That's all the change. Change will be very much minimum. So that time if you are interested in developing a web-based application, you learn Swing technology. Like how you learned servlet technology, there you'll learn that. If you want to develop a micro device application, there you've got some other technologies, you'll learn that. So here we cannot be a master of all. Remember, it's something like Java is the base, core Java. After that we take a deviation. We want which one? JSC or JME or JEE. You decide and move. It's something like specialization. And in JEE it's more super specialization is there. Basic is servlet and JSP. Then there are more advanced technologies like Hibernate, Spring and all extra things are there. That's specific. I mean, they are super technologies. Okay. So that is what is called as skilled labor. In company when the company people want you know, so that is when they look into super specialization. Okay. So but base starts from here only. So that is why even when you go to interviews with 3 years or 4 years of experience, always interviews will be conducted on your basics only. So what basics I have covered till now, you might not know the importance of it, but you'll be definitely realizing the importance of till what I covered after 4 years also, 5 years also. Now it looks very simple for you. Okay, this is, you are thinking it from the fresher point of view, but tomorrow also 4 years, after 5 years, if you want to go to any interview, these are very important topics. Clear? So that is what is skill set. Company actually does not, when you go with experience, the company people will not be bothered about what? Percentage and all that. They will be looking into the skill set, because when they take interview, they look into if a requirement is given to you, how fast you can give the solution to that. This is what they'll be targeting. So when you talk in the interview, they're not looking at your communication skill. They're looking at how you're analyzing the problem, what technology you'll use, how you'll solve the problem. This is what they'll be observing. So these things is what you have to understand. So here we see it's something like completing MBBS and then they become specialists like pediatrician or cardiologist, something like that. Here also we complete core Java. Core Java is very simple here. Once completing that, then it's only specialization. So if you start breaking it, it is very, very simple. Java, language point of view. From the language point of view, just 40 days. Nothing else is there in Java here. It's not a vast language. Just you have to understand what are the 4 different data types. Which are there? Class, subclass, abstract class, interface, why it is designed, how it is designed, when it is designed. If you understand that basic, Java is over here. Because it follows all C syntax. After that in core Java, next things are what? Library. It's very simple. You only sit and break analytically. Okay. So once you complete that, you get into specialization. Either JSC or JME or JEE. So if you are in JEE, you will never like to work in what? JSC. So it's not mandatory that you should know Swing now. Leave it. Because you are a specialist in what? You are a web app developer. Forget it. So in your lifetime you will be continuing with web apps only. Understood? So that's how you move. And this web application and again distributed application, both fall under what? JEE only. These are the best in the market today. High paying jobs. Okay, this is web application. Later on will come distributed application. That's one more requirement. I have explained you what is distributed application. So if you want to develop a distributed application, again you need the technology support. That's when we use what? Web service, EJB and all that. So like that, business logic is very easy to write. But when the problem comes, we need more technology support. Yeah? So that's how it goes on. But all that, once you get this basic idea, they are very easy to learn. You don't have to worry. You don't think it is rocket science also. Once you understand the base of Java and how the libraries have been designed, who gives the solution and all that, it will be very simple now. Because technology, all these are Java based technologies. So this is what you have to clearly understand. Okay. So in JEE it is endless, because see, more and more technologies will be added. You don't have to worry. Time will only teach you. Some problem is there. Advanced technologies will come. But those advanced technologies will be internally using these things only what you have covered. So it will be very easy for you to update. It will not at all be a problem. That is the reason most of you think when you go to interview, why they ask so many questions on core Java. Reason is very simple. Because all technologies are Java based technologies. And all these technologies will be using this as the base. Clear? So yes, you got what is the idea about JEE. Now what do other institutes do? Let's compare now. We have covered so much of Java here. Java, what do they teach? You compare now. Int I plus 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 I, that only they'll take for 10 days. Java is over, they'll tell. Nobody goes on to teach you in depth on what is class, subclass, abstract class, interface. Nobody will teach you. Simply definition wise they'll give you on what is class. Definition wise they'll teach you what is subclass. And you know most of your friends who have completed Java in other institutes how they talk. What is overriding, what is overloading, you know. They talk in that rubbish manner. So how will they be selected? You get the clear point now. Understood? Now when that basic is, you know how I set the foundation now. When that basic is wrong, how will they understand the libraries now? Which one? Core Java libraries. Like collections and all that. They cannot understand that properly. And the data and collections also hardly they take 2 days. What? AL.add of A means array list AL is equal to new array list, AL.add of A, AL.add of B. That is not collections. So this is the kind of training people in other institutes give you. The quality of training. Okay. And then after that JDBC 2 days, servlet 2 days, JSP 2 days. Over they'll tell. And ulta, if they ask, means you people are freshers, you don't know nothing. Okay. You in the college you think they are not covered anything. So that's why you try to join what? Institutes. What they are doing in institutes you hardly know. Understood? So by the time you realize what actually we have covered, it will be too late. So many people target time. 2 months, I want to do Java. Now you saw the syllabus. This is how the syllabus is. The only way the syllabus can be reduced in Java is by what? Cut shorting, syllabus. I have to skip. If I want to finish Servlet in 2 days, I can do it. But what should I do? Skip everything. That's the only solution here. Fast track if you want, skipping. But this is the minimum content what any institute should teach. Unfortunately, they do not do it. Why? It is again your problem. Don't blame the institute. Because when you go to any institute, you'll ask for duration. How long is the duration? 1 month, 15 days. Imagine 22 years you have completed engineering and that has not got you the job. How will a course of 1 month get you the job? It's common sense. So this is what you have to understand. So this much in-depth knowledge is required. So when your basics are not correct, okay, Java in that case, even I could have completed in how many days now? All this. 2 days I++, J++ I'll teach you, for loop I'll teach, class 1 day, subclass 1 day, abstract class 1 day, interface 1 day, over. Then JDBC 2 days, servlet 2 days, JSP 3 days, over now. Hello world I'll teach in what? JSP. Course will be over in how many days? 20 days max. But that's not the way to learn. Okay, we didn't want you to train in that way. We want you to be a specialist in these technologies. So that is the reason we have gone so much in depth. It will be very much helpful for you in future life. Done? So that is where the difference between cluster and other institutes stands. Okay. So we go into very high-fi level of training rather than skipping things. And this you will realize shortly after some time. It will not take too much. And here, by the time you do this, your friends would have completed the course in other places and they would have gone back home also. Okay. And or they would have quit of hopes of what? Job also. But here, your jobs of chances of getting job are also bright and your hopes are also still growing brighter now. You will get. So that is the confidence you start getting now. Clear? So these are the things. So with these basics, I have covered all this, and in Servlet and JSP also I have covered up to what? Certification level, not from theory point of view. The max certification level. So whatever I covered, Core Java, JDBC, Servlet, JSP, whatever they ask in interview, I have covered everything now. Because I have taught you from the certification point of view. So you might be thinking what sir has taught only has come in the interview. You are wrong. Ulta I'll tell it in this way. That much has to be taught. Because that is only the basic. Okay. So what is the basic that I am covering for you? Unfortunately other institutes will not do it for you. They simply brainwash you and say course is over and they'll send you out. Okay. So understand all these things. Clearly I am guided you. So if you put effort and learn this much, okay, definitely you have got bright chance of getting job. And also learning what? Advanced technologies. So put effort and code. Coding is the only solution here because here we work with libraries more. Clear? Nobody can come. We don't write code here. Generally we keep calling what? Methods. In Java everything ready-made library is there. So that is the way we learnt Java. People think Java is something else, but fact is Java is something. And this because of experience I have trained you in this way. Okay. Many people lack experience in Java. Okay. Last year student will be this year faculty. You learn it from him, you know what he'll teach you. That's it. Means today you're a student, tomorrow you become a faculty, you know what you'll teach now. Same thing. So that is what happens in colleges also, that is what happens in other institutes also. That's the only thing. So just focus and keep your spirits alive and code. Okay, once you have knowledge, there are so many people, so many resumes floating in the market telling what they know, Core Java, JDBC, Servlet, JSP. But you cannot compare with their skill set now. Your skills are very high and you are almost all got the control of what? Developing a web application. Your level is totally different, their level is totally different. Do not even bother about them, and what you talk, they cannot understand. The content of JSP what I have covered till now, see there are so many people, seniors I'm talking, with 7 years, 8 years of experience who are working in what? Big companies in TCS, Infosys and all that. So many of them till today are developing web application using only what you know? JDBC Servlet JSP. So I have given you the maximum exposure. In fact, your knowledge on JDBC Servlet JSP is equivalent to what? That 5 years, 6 years of JSP, which one? Experience. You will never realize this. But if you have people working in company, you question them these things, what I have discussed, they'll ask you, how did you learn so many things? Understood? So that extent I have covered. Only pending things are some advanced technologies. Okay, those advanced technologies you can learn. If you go to company also you learn, otherwise you can continue, that's not a problem. Like JSP, Spring, Hibernate and all that. Yeah? With that, definitely you'll get the job. With those technologies, definitely you'll get a job, it will not at all be a problem. So it's all about your patience. Because throughout your 22 years, you have been guided in a different way. Your way of learning was different. But today, I've changed the way you learn things. So it took effort for you to start thinking. So once I made you start thinking, then you came to this level. So realization is very important. Clear? Okay, so this way I conclude this Servlet in JSP. So I covered it from the which one? Certification point of view. The best way I've covered. Okay, so that's what you have to understand. That's it. So do this much and you can clear any freshers interview. Not a problem.